All right, there they go. So first off, we're gonna have a bit of a tense menu here. So I'm not gonna go over everything that's happening, but basically, they're gonna buy a hammer and then they're gonna perform what's called the equipment glitch. So the equipment glitch is essentially sort of tricking the game. You basically press R to switch between two characters and press A to enter an equipping phase at the same time. And what that does, it confuses the game, and it makes you think you're equipping stuff in the wrong slot. And so when you equip a hammer in the armor slot, it actually generates a knight's armor out of that. And the knight's armor is a very good piece of equipment for this part of the game, so much so that it allows us to pretty much solve a great deal of our money, especially in the early game. And knight's armor actually has quite good defense for this point in the game, so it makes us not really have to worry about damage from enemies at this point. And that's going to be a recurrent theme throughout this run, is using the equipment glitch to generate overpowered items. In fact, we're going to get the best sword in the game soon enough as well. So after that little scene and menu, they exit out. Time to go save the world. So first steps first, we gotta go kill this guy called Garland. Pretty simple. Should take no longer than 3 minutes. So one big factor in your time is how many encounters you get. As you can see, Double Drop got his first encounter. So obviously not getting encounters is much better, because even though encounters don't take that long to run from, it accumulates very fast. If you keep getting small 6 seconds chinks on your time, it accumulates very quickly and you end up losing quite a bit of time. But the thing is that, since random encounters are so random, you can have lots of flipping in terms of leads. So at the moment, Cruel's a little bit ahead, but that could easily change over the next split, or at any time, really. So right here in the Chaos Shrine, they're going to be doing another duplication glitch. Oh, to mention that rolls are quite a pain to run from. But I mean, you really don't have any choice at this point. So the loader cap, what it glitches to, is called the Judgment Staff, and the Judgment Staff has the very interesting property of, when you use it as an item in battle, it casts Flare. So Flare is a very powerful spell, and it'll take care of most enemies instantly, well, most mob enemies instantly, as an AoE spell as well. The only downside to it is that the animation is quite long, so there are many times where you have a choice between trying to kill the encounter and fleeing, and possibly wasting a turn. And it's kind of a gamble between the two, because you know that Judgment Staff will finish it off in one turn, but the animation is quite a bit longer than running away, so that's a choice individual runners make at times, and very often as well, is whether or not to Judgment Staff or to run away. So for this boss Garland, it's quite simple. We just bop him on the head with the Judgment Staffs. Even though they're not a physical weapon, really, since they're so overpowered for this point in the game. In fact, these weapons don't really come from a bonus dungeon. We just absolutely clobber him with a few attacks. Another thing to mention that, unlike some other RPG speedruns, this run doesn't have very many cutscenes. In fact, most cutscenes are not any longer than this one. In fact, there's only a few that are this long. Most of them are maybe like 30 seconds. So if you don't like mashing a lot of text, this is the run for you. In terms of lead, Cruel had a lead going into that dungeon, but now it seems that Poor Scythe is in the lead by a little bit. He definitely got a better Chaos Shrine from what I saw. But we'll see. The walk to Provoca can be a bit punishing as well. Yeah, for those who weren't watching because it went by so fast, we used a glitch called the Dupe Equipment Glitch to change a leather helmet into a Judgment Staff, which is an endgame item. And although it's not a physical item, it still does a lot of damage because it's not an item we're supposed to have at all at this point in the game. So Garland absolutely destroyed, even though we're hitting with the staff. And the Judgment Staff has the interesting property of casting Flare when you use it as an item in battle, and we'll see that shortly. So that can be useful for wiping out unrunnable encounters sometimes. So now Poor Scythe is off to the bridge. There are a few title screen cutscenes like this, but you can skip them with X. Double is already getting pretty unlucky with encounters off the bat. Ooh, same for Zealous, but he got a preemptive. So if you get a preemptive strike, as long as the enemy itself isn't unrunnable, you can run away. Though, I don't think you can get preemptive strikes on unrunnable encounters? I'm not sure. And for ambushes, you just... What happens when an ambush is that the enemy gets a free turn of attacks on you, which just wastes a lot of time usually. There's not a lot of enemies where you're in danger of dying, really. The only few are some enemies with elemental attacks later on, but those are only at the very end of the run. This way of the game, stuff doesn't really process through it naturally, and because of our OP equipment, even less so. So, poor Scythe coming up to the pirate fight here. So we want a boat. These guys have a boat. Let's steal their boat. So to take care of these guys swiftly, we could attack them, but much better course of action is to use the Judgment Staff. We use it with a Thief, because the Thief is fast. Bit about party composition. So every character class in our party that we chose has a rule. The Warrior is mostly for the equipment glitch, because since he can equip a lot of items, we can use him to glitch the items that he can equip onto other people, right? The Thief is fast, and he also has the best damage, really, for physical, because you'd think it would be the Warrior, but the way it works in FF1 PSP is that agility that the Thief has translates to more hit count, and more hit count translates to more damage. The White Mage is used for healing, which is necessary for some later boss fights, and the Black Mage will be used primarily for teleport, which is a spell that just saves some time by letting us exit out of dungeons. Citadel Trier is done in this run. Once again for teleport. We didn't used to do that, and the alternative was grinding a lot, so it's basically a choice in terms of routes, though one route is quite obsolete, between grinding a lot and replacing the grinding time with the time it takes to go through Citadel. And the Citadel has many other advantages besides just giving you some stat bonuses. So that's why we went with that route nowadays. So after getting the boat, they're off to Marsh Cave, I believe it's called. So basically this is part of the run that I like to call Side Quest City. You just do a lot of side quests, going from place to place. Okay, we can see poor Scythe deciding to go to Elfheim first. So basically there's just an item or an errand you need to do here at some point, and that is buying 11 gold needles. You just need to do this at some point before you go after the Earth Cave, which is going to be in about 20 minutes or so. So you can do this on any trip where you pass by Elfheim, really. The most optimal places to do it are right now and later after you exit Elfheim Castle. So as you can see, Kroll's taking a bit of a hit here from the enemies. Saugons and Sharks are quite hard to run from at this point. One thing I mentioned is that we'll be using some agility items later on to increase our run rates, but at this point we have nothing, so stuff like wolves and Saugons are quite annoying to run from. And Kroll's having some trouble there, so he just decided to Judgment Staff. And sadly that didn't even kill the Shirk with one hit, which is quite unfortunate, because that's 2 long animations to sit through. Like, the rest of the guys are already nearing Marsh Cave, but Kroll hasn't even touched the coast yet. That's quite unlucky of him, but, you know, thanks for staying behind. Marsh Cave isn't too voluminous in terms of encounters. You generally can get away with maybe 1 or 2. There's just a low encounter right here. So, Devil's taking the lead. I think he got a better world map, for sure. He got his first encounter, though. If Foresight doesn't get any encounters, he can catch up on double drop quite swiftly, though. And same goes for Kroll, but he has quite a bit to walk through if he wants to be able to catch up with the rest, but we'll see. Foresight getting bombarded by some encounters. So here we have a mini-boss of sorts. Interesting to know is that you can't run away from this encounter with Pisco Demons, and because you can't run away from these enemies now, you'll never be able to run away from Pisco Demons ever. Even if you encounter them as a normal encounter in a dungeon, which means you have to watch out for them, and if you run away, you simply just waste a turn. So that's something that happens a lot, is unrunnable enemies in dungeons, so... And certain dungeons like the Sunken Temple, you have to pay a lot of attention because there's a lot of unrunnable encounters to look out for, and you don't want to accidentally run away and waste your time. There's only like 10 or so unrunnable encounters, and you get accustomed to them pretty quickly. So here he has to heal up Poison. Poison will just damage you progressively as you walk around. I think it's 1 point per tile, something like that. One thing that Double Drop is probably attempting is probably trying to keep his HP on this Warrior and Thief low, because later on they're going to need to die for grinding, so if they're already a bit low, we can have them die off pretty easily. We try to keep them around 70. In terms of content, PSP has the same bonus dungeons, but it added the Labyrinth of Time. In terms of subjective stuff like graphics and sound, PSP is an upgraded version of GBA for sure. But the only extra content is the Labyrinth of Time, which you won't see in a normal run, obviously. But in all bosses, you have to go through that. All bosses is a pretty interesting run rate. I recommend you guys try to catch one of these runners do it. It's been pretty hot lately. But otherwise, the world record is quite nice to watch as well. It's quite an interesting run. It differs a bit from the Unit %, and differs a lot once you get into later game because you have a lot more dungeons to do. So we have Double Drop coming up on Astos' Keep. The RNG seems very unfair at times. That's why running this game in races is quite fun, but running this game seriously for a good time is quite frustrating. So, Astos is a pretty simple boss. We just whack him on the head and use some magic, even though it takes a while. Yeah, I mean, I haven't really looked too much into the RNG of this game, but it's quite weird. It's based on a few number of things. It's like imagine you had like a set sort of encounter map laid in front of you. We're going to encounter in certain tiles, but that map changes based on the time. That's sort of the best way to look at it, but even then. But yeah, there's no way to manipulate it really in real time. Even in tasks, it's quite complicated. And by complicated, I just mean annoying to do. And it's quite hard to task PSP as well, so that's why there hasn't been any tasks of this yet. That would be quite interesting to see, because you could probably avoid every encounter, which would make the run quite a bit shorter. There's a lot of this run spent in encounters. So we see Cruel and Poorsight now pretty equal, which is quite interesting. Cruel caught up quite well to Poorsight. As you can see, like, even though Cruel was like what seemed like a minute behind, he actually caught up due to getting better RNG than Poorsight, and Poorsight getting a lot worse RNG. In fact, Xelnus is only slightly ahead those two. Double Drop is taking a bit of a lead here though. But this segment is another segment where a lot of encounters can really ruin your day. Like, the beginning of the game is probably, well, I want to say it's a lot more RNG heavy than some other parts. The first 30 minutes have a lot less tools to deal with being able to run away from encounters effectively. Like here you can see Double Drop struggling to run away from just like a pack of wolves. Later on that'll be less of a problem, not being able to run away, even though you should be, because you have agility boosting items to take care of that. But for now you have to deal with the bad encounters. Another thing that can give you an advantage is menuing. People like Double Drop and Cruel and Poorsight who've been running the game for longer are better at menuing than Xelnus, for example. So they can use that to their advantage and sort of negate some of the bad RNG they get, but even then, encounters really decide a lot in this game. Which is about the good and bad thing. It means that if you're a beginner to this game, you shouldn't feel afraid of racing a top player, because you might have a chance of winning, you know? And even then, this game isn't that hard to learn at all, so... And keep in mind, there's 4 other racers in this race, so one of them could be leading to. We're just showing these 4 guys because they signed up to be restreamed. And they're sort of the top runners for this game as well. So we see Double Drop looming coming up on Mystic Cave. You basically just have to run an errand where you deliver the eye you got from Astos to Matoya, and you get some stuff in return. We're in a race simulator, indeed. Now, another aspect of RNG we haven't even touched on yet is NPC RNG. NPCs can block your way, and there's a lot of places in this game where there's 1 tile wide hallways you have to walk through, and 1 tile wide NPCs that block the way. The infamous broom, of course. Ooh, that's a pretty tough ambush on Forsyth there. That's gonna take a while. Yeah, the party isn't really up to discussion. This is just the optimal party. I started to discuss why during the grinding section, so that'll be a good time to discuss it. But basically, all of the classes here have a distinct role they need to play. So, it looks like Zelnus is right behind Double. Caught up a little bit, and Forsyth and Cruel still about even. Though this encounter can be bad for Double. Looks like Zelnus got through the sea without any problems, but thankfully Double ran away from that rather easily. If you press the wrong menu button, you end up in the bestiary. Zelnus coming up on the castle right there. Forsyth getting ambushed again, that's not good. So you just deliver the Jolt tonic up to this prince. And he gives you some keys so you can open some chests. This point of the game is like, once again, just a big fetch quest. You only start getting to the crystals of elements later on. Yeah, the main difference is the fact that you have the equipment glitch, which trivializes quite a few aspects of the run. Well, the game mechanically had evolved quite a bit since then as well. So here Zelnus is gonna duplicate the enemy you just got into a Thief's Armlet. The Thief's Armlet increases your agility, which makes running way easier, so that's the reason why you equip some of them on your characters. It's basically equipment glitch is just tricking the game into thinking you're equipping something in a slot that you're not actually equipping it into. You're tricking the game into thinking you're equipping a Mithril hammer, which can only be equipped as a weapon normally, into an armor slot, which transforms it into the equivalent armor. Usually the equivalencies are pretty equal in value, like you get leather weapon equals leather armor, stuff like that. But for certain cases like this, because there's more armor than there are weapons, or yeah, you can get weird stuff where you get a very decent item out of a very bad item, or an extremely good item out of an okay item. So you have to go back to Cornelia, get some stuff. Looks like Double's in the lead by quite a bit now. Which just PSP would be about 3 hours or so for reference. Though it looks like, but let's see if Double can run away from this encounter. Hopefully he can, but this is quite nowhere to run from, and if he fails, he's gonna have to endure a whole turn of reading. So if he fails, it probably would have been better to have used the Judgment Staff here, because that would have taken care of the staggered problem immediately. He only has 2 more chances to run, so thankfully you ran away, but even then that still wasted quite a bit of time. In fact, Cruel pulled ahead of Double, which is quite interesting, because at one point Cruel was like a minute behind of him, so good to see, but now Cruel's getting more encounters, so might change again. Cruel's getting a lot more encounters, huh? Zelna's having some trouble running away from the shark and the Sagan. Hopefully, oh, that's bad. Yeah, see, in a situation like that, it would have been better to have chosen the Judgment Staff, but of course, hindsight is 20/20. You never really know before you take the gamble to run away whether you're actually going to be able to. That's sort of part of the gamble. Yeah, Cruel and Double pretty much tied right here. Yeah, for one, PSP is... I don't want to say it's the Fisher Price of RPG speedruns, but it's definitely more on the simplistic side. If you haven't ever speedrun an RPG before, this is a great way to sort of wet your feet into the thing, or into that genre of speedruns, because it's quite short, but it still has quite a few elements of RPG speedruns. And if you like this run, you'll probably like some more complex RPG speedruns. Definitely a fun little race game, because there is a tourney going on for this game. Someone can do the command in chat. It's going to be starting January 16th. It's open to anyone. This game isn't very difficult at all to learn, so if this race looks interesting to you, you should definitely consider signing up. So out comes Double, Crow right behind, and Foresight isn't trailing too far either. Though was getting some pretty good luck on this peninsula here. Counter right before the boat though. Just a snake, so that should be easy to run from, but Cruel gets ambushed, so that's going to cost him quite a bit of time. Poor Scythe is exiting. If he can get known counters, he might be able to pull ahead of Cruel. Doesn't look like it. Just an ogre, that should be fine. Double's running from the shark just fine as well. Hopefully you can make it all the way to Moment without any other encounters. So in Moment, we're gonna get the most powerful sword in the game. It isn't sold in the shop or anything, but we can duplicate, or Glitch still goes into the Barbarian Sword, which is an item you normally get from the hardest boss of the game as a drop. As a 1 of 2. But here we can get enough Barbarian Swords to equip everyone with it. Barbarian Swords are extremely powerful by themselves, and they also give you a strength boost. So Barbarian Swords are absolutely immensely powerful, and they're basically just going to be our weapon of choice for single target attacks for the rest of the game. That doesn't mean that Judgment Staff isn't going to get use, because since it's an AoE attack, for large blocks of enemies that we have to kill, or that we want to kill because running away is too much of a pain, we're still going to use Judgment Staff. Not four-heartedly, because it takes a long time for the animation to play out, while Barbarian Sword is quite short. So Cruel's entering the Earth here right now. Double's trailing with him. The Earth Cave can be a bit annoying. What's really annoying about the Earth Cave is that we have to do it multiple times. Because of how the story works. And the Earth Cave has one unrunnable encounter that is Physical Demons, and one encounter that's kind of dangerous if you didn't buy Gold Needles, but I think all of them did. And that is cockatrices, and they petrify you, and if all 4 characters in your party are petrified, you die. You lose the game. It's game over. But you can thankfully heal Petrify with Gold Needles, and that's the only way to heal it. You can't Phoenix down someone with Petrify, which means you have to buy 11 Gold Needles at some point. But yeah, this is the optimal class setup for Doge just coming in. There really is no more debate about which classes to use. So they're all in Earth Cavern, which is nice. Nothing huge in terms of gaps, though. Double's coming up on Vampire, which is the sub-boss here. Cool's had a bit less luck in terms of encounters, but this is Earth Cavern. The way out can be quite treacherous too. So Vampire is quite a simple boss, and we get to show off the power of Barbarian Swords here. Crow right behind Double. Not bad at all. Boom, one shot. So as you can see there, we did upwards of 800 damage there with just 1 hit, which was more than enough to kill the vampire. Vampires appear later on as unrunnable encounters like Physical Demons, so we have to be careful of them as well. Speaking of Physical Demons, right here, Double has no choice but to attack these guys. Now, one big question when you're facing these guys is whether or not to use a Judgment Staff or to attack. with 4 of them like this, it might have been better to use a Judgment Staff, but it's about equal, especially since he hasn't already selected Judgment Staff, and he can't just hold A to use it. Oh, and Krill gets another 4 pair. I think he's choosing to use the Judgment Staff, so you can see the alternate choice there. Which may be a bit smarter. Depends as well. Because I think Double got hit by all 4 of them, whilst Krill didn't, so... There's a lot of subtle choices like that you have to make when running this game. And there's cockatrices. Cockatrices are quite annoying, but thankfully everyone bought gold needles, so they don't have to worry too much. You can avoid buying gold needles if you want to play it risky, but that's not recommended. Okay, so whites and gas. One thing to note is that if they attack you, they can inflict paralysis on you, which prevents your character from acting in a turn. And if all 4 characters are paralyzed, you get into a state we call paralock, and in that state you basically just wait out until someone breaks out of paralysis. And you could be waiting minutes of just enemies attacking you and attacking you. And that's quite annoying to happen, and usually if that happens in a run and not a race setting, that person would just reset. Or at least wait it out to see how long they'd have to wait. But it can end up taking 2 minutes, or you could even end up dying sometimes if you just don't get out. But yeah, everyone's pretty close here. It's pretty interesting. It's rare to see people this close this run. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't make much sense to raise different versions of everyone, but in terms of any percent without any credits warp or anything, everyone PSP would be the fastest, but if you count credits warp, then everyone NES would be the fastest because that game is a credits warp that's 10 minutes long. Though I don't think people have ever raised that. Here we meet our friend the Golem, we give him some stuff to eat, and he moves away. Hitting an encounter here is a bit of a rare occurrence, and quite unlucky as well. Hopefully Cruel can run away with his white mage here. Thankfully he did. That would have been quite annoying for him not to be able to. So basically we had to do half of Earth Cave, leave, rock quite a bit, get an item, and then now we're gonna have to walk all the way back to Earth Cave and do the rest of it. Along with the half we already did, which is a bit of a pain. Oh, one thing to note about gas is that I don't think the card gas. I can't remember what they're called. Shadows, yeah. They can only be preemptives or back attacks. So usually, if you see shadows, you're pretty happy because you got a preemptive and you can run away instantly. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but preemptives allow you to give you 100% run chance, so you can just immediately run away like that. But if they back attack you, you're you're quite sad because you're usually expecting a preemptive from them. Looks like Cruel got a preemptive there from Shadows, like expected. Making his way through Giant's Cave again, get another preemptive, so no worries there. Looks like Poor Scythe and Zonus are tied, but still a bit behind Cruel. Double is cheating. He's splicing world record right now, as we can see. Pretty easy journey for Cruel there. He's taking quite a bit of lead over Zelnus and Poor Scythe now. Hopefully his Earth Cavern goes well, or badly if you want to see a close race. Hopefully that one can be back on the line. Oh, there's an ambush for Forsyth there. It's quite unlucky. Darkness doesn't really do anything here because we're not going to be attacking manually. It increases your accuracy, which makes you miss on some of your hits, which decreases your damage. And here Cruel is in B3. The last of the fours we've already done, but there's still 3 more to go? I think it's 3. Something like that. And Piscodemons, that's quite unlucky. So there we chose the Judgment Staff, so attacking would have been like slightly faster had his cursor already been attacked, but since his cursor was already on Judgment Staff from the last time, he just hold X, and it just automatically whooshed through all of his attacks there. So that was definitely the smarter choice there. Oh, one thing I mentioned is, I haven't mentioned yet, is saving. You can save pretty much anywhere, so saving in places with dangerous encounters like cockatrices and stuff like that is quite intelligent, especially in races where you don't want to die. So we enter B4. Cool, got a pretty good stretch there. Yeah, it's down for me as well. Yeah, dying is quite bad, but thankfully since you can save anywhere, if you're safe enough, you're not gonna have too much problem there. And dying is quite rare as well. It only really happens if you're quite a bit unlucky, but it does happen, so it's a good precaution to take sometimes. And it doesn't take that much time to save at all. Like, before Lich, for example, we're gonna probably see Cruel saving unless he's really gutsy. Because Lich just has a small chance of killing you. I think it's like 10%, but it takes a little time to save and try again. That it's sort of a time loss that can happen that we're just mindful of, and we sort of don't care about it. We just acknowledge that it exists and that it can happen, and take the necessary precautions to avoid it. Hopefully, Zealous doesn't get paralocked here. He's in a situation where that could happen quite easily. Thankfully, he chose the Judgment Staff. Trying to run there would be a foolish mistake, because you'd have quite a good chance of getting paralyzed again and not running away. So we see the Lich fight, which is quite complicated, as you can see. Very difficult fight. Thankfully, Cruel got through it. Lots of strategy there, in terms of what you have to do. I talk about the execution there, but there's a good 200-page guide on how to fight Lich. So I recommend you guys read that. Of course, I think before the Lich as well. So after the Lich, the encounter energy sort of tames a bit. Mainly because you get access to black herbs once you enter the next town, which increases your agility even more than Thieves' Armlets and allows you to run away from more stuff more easily. So now Cruel's exiting Earthgate right here, and Forsyth just defeated the Lich. So it's a bit tighter the first time they entered Earth Cavern, but now the leads have sort of spread out a bit more. But expecting the runners to be completely equal after Lich is a bit high of an expectation. Zelen is having trouble with Race again. It's quite unfortunate. But he has been taking gambles trying to run away from them, which is sort of unfortunate. But I mean, sort of your playstyle in FF1 is whether or not you choose to gamble against certain encounters or not. And, well, sometimes you choose to gamble and you don't get rewarded for it. And he gets ambushed by Wraith again. That's... he's been having some really bad Earth Cavern luck here. It's not good at all. Cool, just sailing smoothly all the way to Canoe Town. So, as you can imply with the name, you have to get a canoe. And we're also going to be doing some shopping for some ethers, which are going to help us with MP management. And we're going to be buying an item that allows us to get some black herbs, which increase our agility and make running away from encounters easier. Because we want to be able to run away from encounters easily, of course. So even though it takes a bit of time to duplicate it, and the benefits aren't necessarily visible, on average it's better to get the black herbs. The class choices are also different because of the equipment glitch as well. The warrior, for example, really only exists to allow us to glitch certain equipment on, because since he can equip a wide variety of equipment, he can glitch that equipment onto other people, which is quite useful. In fact, if Thief could equip everything the warrior could, we'd have a Thief instead of a warrior for sure. So he buys the Mythor Axe, which he's going to convert promptly into a black herb. The Mythor Axe is of no importance to us at this point, because we have the best weapon in the game with the Barbarian Sword, which already glitched from Steel Glows earlier. So now we get a canoe. So story-wise, you're supposed to go fight Merilith now that you have the canoe, but then we're not going to do that at all. We have other issues, other priorities. We'll take care of that later. So we see Cruel glitching on 3 black herbs. You can glitch on less and on less characters, but it's a bit safer to do it this way. Here we see Poor Scythe doing the same steps. And looks like Zelnus is still having some trouble there with encounters. The lead between him and Poor Scythe, which is already relatively bad, is steepened a bit as well. Hopefully, Poor Scythe can catch up to Zelnus to Cruel. The rubbers don't have any encounters that are too troublesome. The Ice Cavern, though, has quite a few annoying encounters, as we'll see. Has the same race and green versions of rays that I don't know the name of, that are quite annoying to run from, even with black herbs and all. So cool, saving out of precaution. There are a few nasty encounters here. Notably, white dragons. There's like a 255 chance that you encounter them, and they will destroy you quite well at this point. Dark wizards can also cast Fire Raga at you, which is really dangerous. So saving here is definitely not a bad precaution. So I think Cruel kept his Warrior and Thief. Yeah, he kept them at low health, and we'll see why soon enough. The sandwich is quite bad. If they end up paralyzing more people, we can start being afraid for Cruel. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Looks like Forceless Magic does encounter somehow. It's interesting. And yeah, Judgment Staffing there was pretty much the only choice to make. He could have tried to run away, but that would have been an incredibly risky choice that probably would have backfired and could have ended up with him paralocked, and that's definitely something you do not want to happen at all. Running here is a bit of a gamble here, but after taking that sort of safe choice earlier, you kind of want to take a more risky choice. Yeah, Cruel's definitely playing a bit risky on these encounters, but hasn't been paying off too badly for him so far. Though, if this white mage doesn't run away, he's probably going to choose the Judgment Staff. Okay, Dark Wizards. Thankfully, that's a preemptive for Poor Scythe. Those encounters are dangerous, especially if you get an ambush, which is why most people save here. As you see Poor Scythe doing now, an ambush from Raise again. Looks like Poor Scythe is catching up. In fact, I think he passed Cruel here with the encounter that Cruel's getting. Choosing the Judgment Staff there is a good choice. Mind Flayers are annoying. You can't really run from them very well. And they can, and they don't have the death status as a side effect of their attacks, but they can just insta-kill you as a side effect of their attacks without anything you can do about it. No status protection from that kind of infliction. Cruel really getting some bad encounter luck here. Oh, in fact, he chose to reset. So basically, that's what you call a spike tile. So on spike tiles, you're always going to get an encounter, and it's going to be seeded based on what kind of tile it is. So this is always seeded to have specters, raise, and gas, but whether or not you get ambushed or preemptives and how many of each of them you get is random, but you always get the same type of encounter. So it's commonplace to staple for that tile in case you get ambushed. This Pisco Demon encounter would be annoying for Poor Scythe if it didn't have the Judgment Staff, but thankfully he does. Looks like Xelnos has taken a bit of a... See, Kurata used 2 Judgment Staffs there, which is quite unlucky, because, as you can see, the animation takes quite a while. So here we're gonna get... Oh, well, not just yet for Poor Scythe, because of encounters. Blood Moons are easy to run from, though. Yeah, the digital release is used over the Unity release because it's much faster, especially with all the loads you have to do with encounters and such. Crew runs on PSP, but with the digital release, if I remember correctly. So, what we're going to see here... So here we're basically seeing them enter the same fight into sub-boss again. And this is basically grinding. So Cruel as Warrior and Thief die there at the encounter. And the reason for that is getting more XP to the Black Mage and the White Mage, who are the only characters who actually need it. The Warrior and the Thief don't really need the XP. So, getting encounters outside of this fight, between stepping on and off and back onto it, can happen, and it's generally considered unlucky. Shouldn't always happen. So while we do a bit of grinding here, I might as well explain a bit about the class choice. So the reason we use a warrior is, as I've explained before, to have a wide variety of equipment we can glitch onto other characters. So the way the equipment glitch works is that you have an item you can equip on one character, and then you press R and X at the same time to equip it on a different slot on the next character, which can also transmute the item from a weapon into an armor, or from an armor into a weapon. And so the warrior is great for enabling us to do that. The Thief is the best for physical damage, and then we need the White Mage to be able to keep up with healing for some bosses later on. So then we're left with the fourth choice, and the Black Mage is an interesting choice because it allows us to gain access to teleport, which is quite a nice utility spell and saves us quite a bit of time in terms of just not having to traverse parts of dungeons over and over again. So right, what we used to do here instead of class changing was grinding against this guy for, I can't remember what it was, but it was like 8 minutes or so. And you grind all the way to level 30 with your white mage so that you could have Hilaga. But here, with this setup, we're going to content ourselves with Hilara instead. And that plus a few other goodies we get from doing the Citadel, along with getting the class change we get from doing the Citadel, will allow us to counterbalance the lack of healing we have with Hilara instead of Hilaga. So I believe now we have Poor Scythe in the bottom weapons of the double drop, and he's quite a bit behind sadly, but he might be able to catch up, we'll see. Zelnus is just into the grinding part, but it looks like Cruel and Poor Scythe are still pretty even. So at this point we're gonna... We just got the item, the Lava Stone, which allows us to gain the access to the airship, so we're gonna go get that first. Then after that, we're gonna go ahead and do the Citadel side quest and upgrade classes. And then our main goal now, in terms of the general plot, is defeating all 4 elemental fiends. So we've taken down Lich so far, and so now we have Merilith, Kraken, and Jamet to go. Not in that order though, but that's the order the game wants us to do them in. Because normally after you get the Canoe, you're supposed to go Merilith right away. But we don't do that. Mainly because it's sort of out of our way, and the airship is much faster than riding the Canoe through a lot of small canals, and canals where you can get encounters especially. Thankfully in this game you can't get encounters in the airship, unlike in FF3. I think that's where they introduced the concept. That they abandoned it quickly because it's a bad idea. So cool as the airship. Just flying out to Citadel. He knows where to go. You have to sort of navigate with key landmarks. So it's a bit faster to walk a little bit here, because basically you can only land the airship on flat plain areas. So either you could... Oh, so before I continue that thought, sandworms can insta-kill with Earthquake, so you have to be careful with them. Anyways, you can only land airship on certain tiles, which is kind of dumb because there's no like mechanism that forces you to use another method of transport you don't have yet. So it's really just to annoy you that you have to just walk around the world map even though you have an airship. So you really have 2 choices. You can either sail all the way to the Citadel or you can fly. And it turns out it's faster to fly than walk a bit than it is to sail all the way. But not by too much. The Citadel has quite a few encounters and it's a bit of a tricky place to navigate as well. But of course these runners know their way very well inside of it. Even then, that's really like the only difficult aspect, and even then it's not that bad. The only difficult aspect about learning this game as a beginner is figuring out your way around dungeons, but you can just have a map and another tab as you run. That's what I did first couple of runs. Like this place, for example, you just have to sort of remember where to go. Yeah, poor... No, what's his name? Weaver TV is in the bottom left right now. Stubble's been having some problem with his stream. But he's winning secretly. So this... It's just coming down to the ice cavern, it seems. Or we're trying to get out. And Poor Scythe is trailing a little bit behind Cruel, but still doing well. You can gain the lead very easily if Cruel just gets a few worse encounters and him a few better. Dark Wizards for Zelnus, thankfully no issues there. Those guys can cast Furaga, which is a bit dangerous. These Rakshasas are Rockies, let's call them. They're a bit of a pain to run from at times. They can also waste time with fire casts. So we get the gauntlets, which are going to be... Cruel uses them to cast thunder. I think that's what he does. It can be used later on in the Sunken Temple, because Sunken Temple has a lot of enemies that are both water type, weak to thunder, and that are invulnerable, so you can use that to have an AoE attack that'll kill them, take care of them, but won't be as long as Judgment Staff. So that was a spike tile with a chance of having 2 dragons sometimes, but there's usually only 1 dragon you have to fight, and either way, he gets 1 shot. He gets decent experience, though, which is an advantage. And looks like Reboot is just coming up on the Ice Cavern. So after completing the Citadel, we have enough proof to prove to Bahamut that we are worthy of upgrading classes, so that's what we're going to do. So upgrading classes gives us about 10 levels and stat bonuses. And it mainly gives us access to new spells that you don't have access to. Mainly the teleport spell for Black Wizard, that Black Mage doesn't have access to. And we also get the cool Ninja class for Thief, which is just cool and allows us to cast some basic black magic, but we won't actually ever get too high enough level to get enough MP to do so. So we won't be able to make advantage of using haste with a ninja, for example. Which can be useful in other categories like all bosses where we do get a chance to use haste with a ninja. Here where you don't ever get to cast any spells, or if you end up fighting a lot of random encounters, you might be able to get 1 haste cast out of the ninja. But we definitely don't rely on it in the route. So now it's time for some more errands, which is basically all this run amounts to. So I believe Huel is going to tackle the... Nah, he's going to do this now. So first of all, we need to buy some cool new spells. So we're buying Hilara, which is going to be our main AoE healing spell for later on. We also buy Teleport. Teleport basically warps you back 1 floor, and there's a lot of upcoming areas where we're going to have to sort of redo floors or walk out of them. So Teleport allows us to skip that, which is quite a big time save, actually. So now Cruel is tackling Mount Gold, which we're supposed to do before doing Ice Cavern normally, but we're going to do it now. So we're doing Mount Gold specifically after getting Hilara, well, amongst other reasons. We do it after getting Hilara because it allows us to very easily heal away the damage that is inflicted by the lava tiles. One interesting to note about these lava tiles is that you can't get encounters on them, so we try to sort of optimize our path to take as many of these as possible to avoid encounters. And it's another gamble here that you have to take between healing a lot and wasting time and trying not to heal, because you definitely end up at quite dangerous healths, and there are a few enemies here that can do AoE attacks, which if you're at a very low health, like 1 or 2 damage, you will die from, even though you don't take that much damage with all the equipment we have, thanks to the equipment glitch. It looks like Poor Scythe is making his way to Mount Gog as well, still lagging a bit behind Cruel. Lead is deepened a bit, and Zelnus is still in Citadel struggling a bit. Getting some unlucky encounters with ambushes and whatnot. Cruel making his way pretty smoothly through Mount Gog though. It's now the last floor right here. Poor Scythe not lagging too far behind, though both of these guys have gotten quite a few encounters for Mount Goal. You usually don't see that many, maybe 1 or 2 in this place. So, Krill about to fight Merilith. Merilith's a very simple fight, kind of like Lich. The fights really don't get complicated in Toe Chaos, which is like the only fight that's somewhat strategic. You're just so overpowered with the barbarian sword, you can just sort of hack and slash your way through without much thought. And there's Burst half on the last floor, coming up the crawl. And Zelda should be on the Citadel right, right here soon. And there he is, done with Mirth as well. Quite the techno boss. And Zelnus is going to be making his way to start doing the errands these guys just did. He's about like 2 or 3 minutes behind them. But it's still pretty even between Forsyth and Cruel. Forsyth about 45 seconds behind or so. So now that we've done some fire, it's time to do some water. And we're off to do the Sunken Temple shebangs. But first of all, we need to go to the desert. We just need to buy a fairy and a bottle here. I think we're also going to buy some Giant's Tonics. And what Giant's Tonics do is they allow us to increase the max HP of someone. And we're going to be using that for the Chaos fight later on. And Crew getting an encounter right before the airship. That's quite unlucky. And there's Forsyth visiting out, and Zelda's getting the job upgrade. So if you don't know the fairy, this cutscene doesn't happen, and if this cutscene doesn't happen, the story doesn't advance. So that's where we get the fairy. So this fairy gives us the oxygen, which allows us to breathe underwater. And we want to be able to breathe underwater because Kraken, the next fiend, is underwater. And we need to be able to fight him and kill him. Sunken Temple can be a bit annoying because there's a lot of uneventable encounters, but we'll talk about them when we see them. So here's our first teleport. Using it to avoid walking out. Didn't save too much time in this context, but we'll see later on that it's going to be quite the lifesaver. Crow's ahead of Forsyth by a little bit. He's, well, that was actually the phrase ahead. And then we have Crow and then Forsyth. Forsyth isn't too far behind though. Zelnus is a little bit behind though. Trailing a little bit. Here we have Crow entering the Sunken Shrine. So Sunken Shrine is notable for 2 things: great music and unrunnable encounters. First of all, before you can tackle the Kraken portion of Sunken Shrine, we have to tackle the upper portion, which is getting the Rosetta Stone, which we need to later on for the story. So we have Cruel navigating the upper depths of the Sunken Shrine. He hasn't had too much trouble with unrunable encounters so far. World record is 127.01. But that's quite rare to see in a race context, though. So their Cruel had to Judgment Sap those guys because that is an unrunnable encounter. Quite the annoying one as well because they come in a huge block. Ghost is well unrunnable, but they're not as annoying as Sagans because they don't get enough attacks off. Or as much attacks off, rather. But as we can see, Double is taking quite a bit of lead ahead of Cruel. He's already tackled his equipment menu and he's going down to Kraken right now. But Poor Scythe and Cruel are teleporting down and are going to start tackling the other half of the dungeon where you have to fight Kraken himself. Because the other upper half was just for getting the Rosetta Stone, which we need for the story later on. And now we tackle the actual business in this dungeon. Double coming up on Kraken real soon, though. Well, Sporseth and Kuro are dealing with some pitiful encounter luck here. And looks like Zelnis just finished up Megalith as well. It's about to exit Mount Gulk and going to start attacking this dungeon as well. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to see all 4 racers in the same dungeon at the same time anymore, but... So let's put up a good show for the first parts of the race anyways. So, Double's already done with Kraken here. And Poor Scythe and Cruel are pretty even, but are both starting to lag behind Double Drop quite a bit though. Double Drop is on some pretty good pace right now. Hopefully we don't jinx it. So Devil's going to be making his way for the next portion of the side quest, which is with the goal of killing the final elemental fiend, that is to say Tiamat. And we have Cruel on menus and Poor Scythe taking a bit of an advance on him, as he's about to fight Kraken. The encounters weren't very nice to Cruel at all. He was actually ahead going into this dungeon relative to Poor Scythe. Zelnis keeping a good pace though. Still a bit behind, but he's been staying even, despite being behind. Or rather, not getting more behind. But first, Double needs Waterfall Cave, which can be annoying at times. And thanks to Teleport, we don't have to walk back out of Waterfall Cave, which you would have to do if you didn't have Teleport. And Waterfall Cave has a lot of annoying encounters as well. And so Forsyth is now done. And Zelnus is now starting Sunken Shrine. Double's reaching the underwater for Arcada, so he's doing quite well. Crow has taken a bit of tardiness relative to Forsyth. Though Forsyth got much better luck in terms of encounters. Crow really got the bad end of the stick when it came to encounter luck, so there's not much he could do about that. It's not like his menuing was bad or something like that. If he wasn't his fault at all. So one interesting item we get there is the ribbons that we get from that chest, and we're going to be using the equipment glitch to duplicate them. And the reason we do that is that ribbons give good elemental protection, as well as protection from statuses, which is quite nice later on, because some enemies will use instant death attacks, which ribbons will protect us from. Forsyth making his way gently through Waterfall Cave, about halfway through. And Cool's about to start tackling that. With some good encounter luck, you might be able to pull ahead of Forsyth, but at this point, Double Drop has quite the concrete lead. Well, it would take some bad luck on his part to pull back behind. That would be a shame, of course. He's on some relatively good pace right now, especially for a race. So for this area, you can't land next to the town we're supposed to visit. Instead, you have to land halfway across the world and walk all the way there. There's a lot of annoying encounters that can make you lose a lot of time to this peninsula, so getting a good walk here is vital to having a good split. These Minotaurs especially are quite annoying. Here we can see Forsyth exiting, while Skrull still has a little bit of the Waterfall Cave to go. And Zelnus is still making his way, I think, through the... Not sure, I think it's either in the top or the bottom half of Sunken Shrine right now. One of the two. Looks like Krull's having some unfortunate time loss with this encounter here. Wasting a lot of time on his part. Gaze can insta-kill characters. So that's quite annoying to deal with. So now Double's out of Lufenia, and he's going to start tackling the next dungeon in 2 parts. And Krull is finally out as well. Forsyth talking to this guy so we can learn Lufenia. So all for runners are at different stages right now. The Forsyth might be able to catch up soon enough. Catch up to Double Drop, who's in the lead right now. So Double's making his way through Mirage Tower, which is labyrinthian in the carnal sense of the word, and has a handful of annoying encounters, but it should be relatively easy at this point. The big deal is getting a lot of encounters, definitely quantity at this point. Vampires, you can run away from them, thankfully. Winter Wolves are quite annoying to run from at times. So some runners would choose the Judgment Staff instead of trying to run away, but of course I thankfully managed to get away from that. And if the Ice Kick is present, you can't actually run away, you have to kill them. Becomes unrunnable. Mentor Zombies are runnable, but it's... Oh wait, no, Mentor Zombie Troll isn't runnable at all. Pardon me. You have to kill these guys, and it's quite annoying, for sure. Double thankfully managed to run away. Now he's going to be tackling... Oop, not... Oh no, that's Spike Tile. That's normal. Spike Tile is automatic. Always give you an encounter, which can vary slightly, but it's... Yeah, so one thing that enabled them to beat this game so quickly is the equipment glitch, which allows them to have access to much more powerful equipment than they should have access to. Which is why you can see Cruel one-shotting these guys with a simple hit. And Double one-shotting this guy with a simple hit. And Zona's killing Kraken with a few hits. So interesting thing you might not have noticed there is when Poisite blocked an attack, he had a weird animation. And that's because we glitched ribbons onto our shield slot. Because of the game not expecting us to have ribbons on the shield slot, which we got there be glitching, the game sort of pulls the corresponding block animation for ribbons, which happens to be a block animation that exists. If it's a block animation that doesn't exist, it'll actually crash the game when the game tries to pull it up. But thankfully, ribbons just so happen to have a pre-existing block animation that corresponds to their ID and memory, so that's nice. So it looks like Double is about to tackle Tiamat here, or what if you didn't get ambushed? You shouldn't get like maybe one encounter in this bridge usually, not anymore, otherwise that's bad luck really. Cruel's just tackling Phineas. It looks like the gaps between the runners has widened quite a bit. Poise at the Cruel were... Actually, Cruel was about a minute ahead of Forsyth entering Sunken Shrine, but now it's about the opposite. Double's tackling Tiamat right here. It's gonna be some of the same stuff we've seen before. So this is the last of the elemental fiends to go, then after that we're gonna be doing the final dungeon. That was quick, huh? Zelna's taking his way through Waterfall Cave quickly. He's getting some decent encounter luck though. Same for Forsyth, it seems, in the Mirage Tower. Any preemptive is good news, because you get to run away for free, basically. Gardens are easy to run from as well. Double is doing cutscene, right? And Cool's about to enter, well, he would be about to enter. If he wasn't getting some bad encounter luck. Double's on some pretty nice pace right here. All he has left is the final dungeon, and what could possibly go wrong, am I right? In the final dungeon. So, let's wish him luck. He's even ahead of world record, wow. That's nice. Hopefully he can pull it off, that'd be great to see. All we have left is the final dungeon for him. Wow, getting encounter out of the way out, that's bad luck. 2 encounters, that's really bad luck. Hopefully that's the sponge for his bad luck and we won't see any more of that. We have Forsyth at the very end of Mirage Tower about to enter Tiamat's floor. And Cruel at the very beginning of Mirage Tower. And looks like Zelna should be nearing the end of Waterfall Cave as well. And Double's entering the final dungeon. The final dungeon has different sections, one section for each elemental fiend. So it's actually quite longer than other dungeons we've encountered before. Just a reminder that the world record, since we have someone on world record pace, is 127.01 by Old Sigma. I think Double's PB is like 128 something. Can't remember exactly. But yeah, we're nearing the end of the run, definitely. It'll probably be about 20 minutes before Zelda's finishes, maybe? Maybe a bit more, like 25. So, double saving, taking the precaution. There are some nasty dragons here that can do elemental attacks on you and ruin your day. So you definitely want to be healed up and saved. Hopefully can make it through this floor without any encounters, and that's already bad news. Purple worms you can't run away from, but they're so easy to kill you. It's good news. Definitely good news. Push like making his way through the floating fortress. And Code is entering the floating fortress. Looks like he's having some trouble with air elementals though. Dragon zombies, you pretty much have to kill them. Really, any encounter in here is bad news. It just wastes your time like nothing else. Hope they can get a third floor without any encounters. That'd be nice. Oops. Little hiccup there. RNG manipulation. RNG manipulation, of course. Has Crew overtaken? No. Crew has one floor, two floors of two floors more to go relative to the Poor Scythe. And Double is entering the next part of Chaos Shrine. That's nice. He's still up for me, so I can give some radio commentary on that. Double's getting a relatively good look here, going down to the lower floors. What really matters in Chaos Shrine is the quality of encounters you get, because there's a lot of encounters that are relatively easy to run from. Though, of course, it would be nice to get not a few encounters only, but it's definitely better to get better encounters than it is to get worse encounters naturally, because worse encounters take up a lot more time. It can also be dangerous. White dragons being one of them. Double choosing to run, which is the riskier option. Thankfully, it paid off for him. That's good to see. Poor Scythe has finished Tiamat, and Crew is just starting Tiamat. And I think Zelnus is making his way to Melmond. He's gonna start the Tiamat side quest in itself. First by luring Rufinian. He's gonna get the chime bell from the Funians. Purple worms are unrunnable, but they're pretty quick to kill, so it's a good encounter. Now he's entering Lich's floor, where he's gonna have to fight Lich again. Earth Elemental is unrunnable, which is not the best encounter to get. And that's Force Scythe out. Tiamat Tower. Ooh, an ambush for double drop. That's not good at all. It's gonna lose quite a bit of time. It also seems that if you get ambushed by an encounter, it's harder to run away from it on the subsequent turns. And Cool should be out of Floating Fortress shortly as well. Port Sec just starting Chaos Shrine. And Zelnus is working his way at Tiamat slowly. Double with another ambush. Wow, that's Double is not getting good luck at all. I feel bad for him. Okay, Poor Scythe starting it. If Poor Scythe catches up to Double, that'd really be something. Double fighting Lich right now. Let's see, hopefully he doesn't get flared. Fourth hit coming in for the White Mage. Okay, he didn't kill him, but Lich chose to attack instead of flare, which is nice. So he still killed him relatively quickly. If Lich flares you, you have to heal up too, which takes some time. But I mean, he got a really bad Lich floor, so I don't know if he's still on world record pace, but we'll see. We'll see how the rest of the shrine goes. It's not over yet, by far. Okay, Cruel's doing the cash shrine as well, so 3 out of 4 are in the cash shrine. Zonus is gonna take a while though. He's a bit behind, but he's more of a newcomer to this run, so he's still doing quite good for how long he's been running. 1 encounter on Mirrorless floor, not bad. Or 2 for double. Oh. And an ambush again. Wow, double is not getting good luck here. This is like the 3rd ambush he's had recently. So poison gas there can be quite dangerous if you have a lot of occurrences of it. But looks like Boy Scythe is doing okay against those green dragons. Hopefully Mirrorless dies at this 4th hit for double. No, but she only attacks, so that's not a big waste of time. And there goes Mirrorless for double. Oh, looks like he's back on stream too. Great. Crew with some more green dragons. Water elementals are unrunnable. Thankfully, Double Drop has the Judgment Staff he duped way back then, but it's still going to take quite a bit of time for this animation to resolve. This is definitely one of the worst cash shrines I've seen. It's pretty unfortunate for Double, actually. Yeah, the equipment glitch is a main enabler for all the crazy stuff we do. Hopefully the rest of the floor goes without a hitch for Double. Okay, that's a good encounter there. Poor Scythe and Cruel are having to deal with tons and tons of snakes and zombies and dragons. Not going too well for them either. Looks like everyone's just getting a crummy chaos shrine tonight. Okay, looks like Double's at Kraken right now. Hopefully he can do this fight in 1 turn. With some luck. Make up, ooh, I think that was a crit. Ink. Still long animation, that song. More unrunnables for both Poor Scythe and Cruel. That's that's not good at all. Really crummy Chaos Shrine scenario. And Zonus is just into Mirage Tower as well. I've already seen that a few times. Okay, hopefully Double can get a good Tiamat floor. Doesn't look like it. Air Elementals. You can't run away from them, but it's hard. Hopefully he succeeds though. He's definitely trying to ink out all the time he can get. Cruel trying to run it from my dragons as well, taking the risky route. So he's fighting Tiamat. He's choosing the haste here, which is slightly faster, and also sets up haste for Chaos as well. So we're going to be using that as well for that fight as well. And looks like Poor Scythe is on Lich's floor, and he gets ambushed. Ooh, it's going to take a while. So looks like Cruel is pulling ahead of Poor Scythe right now. Yeah, indeed. Unless he gets ambushed as well. Earth Elementals, it's kind of bad. So you can't run away from that. And Zonus is entering Floating Fortress. Hopefully he gets no encounters up to Chaos. It's rare to get last encounters on this last floor. So to explain Chaos, so basically the way Chaos works is either does magical attacks or physical attacks to sum it up briefly. And you definitely want to avoid magical attacks. They hurt, and they take a lot of time. So if he gets a really good pattern, he might be able to get a very good time, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Looks like Cruel has definitely pulled ahead of Poor Scythe. Though they're both not at Lich. Let's see what happens. Let's focus on Double for a bit, because we've already seen the rest. Focus on the Chaos fight that we're gonna see here. Chaos fight is like the first fight, and the only fight where you actually need a bit of strategy. So first things first, we want to get haste on all of our attacking guys, that is to say, Ninja, Warrior, and Black Wizard. Knight, rather. And at the same time, our White Mage is going to be spamming Alara every turn. And we also... It looks like he's not opting to use the Giant's tonic, playing it riskier. It's definitely the smarter choice at this point. Blaze, that's not, it's not the best. Hopefully he doesn't follow it up with Tsunami. That would be very, very bad, indeed. Because he might lose the ninja to that attack. Doesn't look like it. It's a shame that the warrior went before the Black Wizard there. Tsunami, oof, yeah. That was getting a magical pattern here. That's really bad. If he follows up with Cyclone, which he might do, it's gonna be oof, oof. That's really bad. That's really bad. He can recover from this, but it's annoying. It's gonna take a bit of luck. Yeah, that hurts. That's oof. That's a shame. That killed it there. Ay ay ay. Okay, he's slowly recovering it. It's gonna be hard to keep the Black Mage online though, but that's not that big of a deal because the Black Mage isn't that big of a boost to our damage anyways, but since the ninja lost his haste, we definitely want to be able to regain that. And looks like Crow has dropped a bit behind Forsyth again, but they're still very close. So Black Mage chasing people up again. Cyclone, that's another long animation. That doesn't do as much damage as Tsunami though. Tsunami is just a dangerous attack in itself. It's quite annoying because it takes a while as well to resolve. And yeah, World Record has already passed. He would have definitely had a chance had Chaos been a bit nicer, but Chaos has been really mean to him. Like, just absolutely mean to him. That's something that can happen. It's just getting screwed over by Chaos. That can happen. It's a shame when it does, but it's something that happens. Looks like Zealous is about to enter Chaos Shrine though. So yeah, not doing too bad. We probably won't see sub-30s from Cruel or Forsyth, but it's still they're still doing pretty well, especially for a race. Like anything sub-40 in a race is quite good. And low 30 is quite good for a race. That was probably going to be able to pull out the sub 30 unless Chaos keeps shoving that nail in. Slowly getting back to a sort of operational state. Looks like Forsyth is pulled ahead of Cruel with much better luck though. Not getting any encounters while Cruel has gotten an unrunnable in between Kraken and Tiamat. And Zelda's making his way to Cash Run. Oh. Ooh, that was bad. He didn't time his MP correctly enough, and yeah, thankfully he has the healing staff though, but it's still not going to do enough to replace Halora. Basically, he ran out of MP with the mage, which is easy to... that usually doesn't happen unless you have a very, very bad Chaos fight. Thankfully, he did a physical attack there. It's quite unlucky and lucky at the same time, because he had to be quite unlucky to get into such a position in the first place, but lucky to be able to resolve it. Hopefully he doesn't do an AoE attack now, otherwise he's going to be in some big trouble. Cash should die relatively soon too, but... Chiraja, oof. Okay, that you only see if the fight goes on for a long time. That's better than an AoE attack, which would have really just destroyed him. Because it would have killed the white mage, which would have put him in a really, really bad spot. But Chiraja is quite annoying because I basically just negated 9,000 points of damage. Okay, looks like at this point it looks pretty good for double unless Chaos does some more shenanigans. It's hard to follow multiple Chaos fights at the same time, so Hopefully we'll see some better stuff from Double, from Forsyth and Kuro's side. Chaos hasting himself, that's not that big of a deal. It's just a waste of time. Double should be closing in on Chaos though. Blaze, that's not the best. Blaze on Kuro's end as well. You ideally just want Chaos to attack over and over again because it didn't do that much damage. Plus his magical attacks definitely do a lot. Kuro definitely played a lot safer with the Giant Sonic on the Black Mage and on the Ninja, I think. So he's definitely not in any risk of them dying. Whilst Double had the Black Mage die again just there because he played riskier. So this Tsunami is not going to be a threat at all to Kuro here. Whilst it really set Double off to a bad foot. Plus your Kuro survives it. Doesn't hero entirely for Lara, but he still survived it quite well. If he gets Cyclone right now, he might be in danger, but he's doing pretty good. Looks like Forsyth barely survived the attack, and there's Double finishing. Good job, Double. Definitely not the time he was expecting. He got just a terrible Chaos fight. There's nothing you really could do about that. But
hey,
that's how it goes sometimes with Chaos. Hey, Double.
So for those of you watching,
how it goes sometimes with Chaos. Hey, Double.
I should not have had that happen during the fight. Pretty much what I did is I knew I was on world record pace, so I went like just balls to the walls and tried to YOLO the whole fight. What I should have done is I should have Giant Sonic both my Ninja and my Black Mage. Unfortunately, you know, I tried to get the world record, and I'm just glad I managed to salvage the fight because I did not save.
You did what you had to do, but you still won the race at least.
Yep.
And even then, your cash run was pretty bad. Like that.
Oh yes, I was 2 minutes ahead of world record at Tiamat and 18 seconds ahead of PD at Tiamat 2. So I lost 2 minutes just in Chaos Shrine. Unfortunately, like even if I had have gotten the world record, I would have had a world record with half a VOD. So I'm kind of glad that this wasn't the run.
So it looks like the same order people finished at Lich is the same order we're gonna finish now, which is funny. That tends to happen in races for whatever reason, even though the lead between Cruel and Forsyth swapped in a lot. But Cruel definitely pulled it. I think like a minute difference with Forsyth? I'm not sure. Look at the SRL. Yeah, good job Cruel and Forsyth. And finishing. Zelnus is closing in soon as well. Zelnus is probably gonna get like sub 30, which is quite good for a race. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this
113 Tiamat is pretty insane.
It's been a while since I've looked at splits, but yeah, I remember that being good.
It's ahead of your PB by, I think, 35 or 40 seconds. It's 2 minutes ahead of my own PB.
Wow, that's nice.
My PB had a really good Chaos Shrine, and unfortunately, I did not have the same luck this time.
So yeah, so anyways, if you enjoyed this race, keep in mind that there's a tournament coming up soon. Sign-ups are open right now, and it's going to start in January. There's a command for it. So yeah, if you liked what you saw here, there's a lot of fun races to come if you join the tourney. Keep in mind that this run is quite easy to learn as well. Join the tourney. Keep in mind that this run is quite easy to learn as well.
Hello?
Hey, Cruel. Good job on finishing second.
Thank you.
Hey, Cruel. Good job on finishing second.
We'll just wait for Forsyth and Zelnus to finish up.
Yeah, Zelnus should be coming up pretty soon, though. Yeah, Zelnus should
Shame
be
it
coming up
ended
pretty
like
soon,
that,
though.
Double.
You know, it happens.
Yeah, that's just how
Honestly, was
could
not.
crumble some-
I was not even like attached to the run until I got to Rosetta Stone.
Oh, they moved me.
Okay, you should be in now, Forsyth.
Hello.
Yeah, that's just how the cookie crumbles with everyone. It's when you least want bad RNG, it's when you get it.
I think everybody is now echoing except me, since you're still using my my game audio, Fiesel. Just letting you know. Like, it's probably on my end. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so looks like Zelnus is at Kraken right now, so he should be finishing pretty shortly. He should probably be able to sub 40 with some luck.
I'm looking at my splits. I was a minute ahead at Kraken of my PB, and then I finished 3.5 behind. I lost time everywhere after Kraken.
Yeah, there's some pretty good trade-off in terms of leads between you and Cruel. Though I think you're behind Cruel after Lich.
Me?
Yeah.
Poor Scythe.
I was getting a lot of the
ahead
runnable.
of everybody at Lich. And then double after Lich, double got some really good RNG.
They
Yeah,
like
Cruel was ahead of me, getting leaving Crescent, and then Cavern of Ice played really nice to me, and I just zoomed ahead.
Yeah, it was in Cavern that you managed to take that lead. I was suddenly surprised with, wait, you're already at Evil Eye? You got one hell of an Evil Eye split.
Yeah, I saved a significant chunk of my time against PB on Evil Eye.
because of the nature of this game, some of best is really irrelevant. I think, what are we at, like 113? I want to say. I don't know if we're that low.
There's someone I know that has a 110 or a 109 sum of best, but I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
I mean-
I'm not sure if they just took my splits and then got the sum of best, because nobody else I know has a 110 except for myself. Because it's
Yeah, I
like
think-
I saw his splits and it's like 109 sum of best with under 30 runs, and I have 240 and my sum of best is 110.
I think one day we might see sub 20, but even then, it would take so much going right, and it's just so easy to, like, you guys saw it clearly. Double was on really good pace, and then Gashran just rigged it all. It would just take so much to get like a sub 120.
I was on
and then
125 pace going into Chaos Shrine.
yeah, and then you ended up with like one. I mean, you're like probably in like 127.
I would have
As you enter
PB'd if
Chaos.
I would have PB'd if I didn't YOLO Chaos, for sure.
Yeah,
Basically, like
but then Chaos completely destroyed you.
well, my Chaos and PB was average, so I knew when I went into the fight it was either I YOLO and go for world record, or I play it safe and maybe get a PB that's not world record.
Yeah, it's a tough choice to make.
There's only, I mean, I'm 37 seconds off world record, and I know there's only so much time to save on the Chaos fight, and I figured maybe I could save 15, 20 unless I went completely YOLO.
I mean, that was the choice to make.
Honestly, like, I wouldn't have changed my choice for the world. It's either you go all out or don't bother.
For sure. Looks like Zelnus is starting his fight there. He's playing it safe as well. Though I think with 227 base HP, you don't really need to Giant Sonic the Ninja, but it's a good precaution.
For it. Alright,
had, what,
327 now.
230?
Never mind.
230 was like not even 230 was really dangerous.
230 on my ninja, it was terrible.
He got one shot by Tsunami.
I'm used to my
So
ninja surviving Tsunami but dying to Cyclone, but I died to
So
Tsunami.
what happens usually is you get hit by Tsunami and you can't heal at all, and then you get Cycloned, and that kills you. But if your ninja dies to Tsunami flat out, then you're in a really bad position to get a good fight.
Honestly, I'm less salty about the way the Chaos fight went and more impressed at myself for managing to salvage it. Because, like, a lot of that fight is extremely dangerous, and I think for a vast majority of the runners, if that would have happened to them, it would have been just dead. But I managed to salvage it, especially with the white mage running out of MP. It was a partial luck, but I'm glad I managed to get out of it. Because finishing the race was still more important if I lost world record. Anyways,
Yeah, for sure.
thank thanks for the race, guys. Thanks, Fiesel and Speed Gaming, for having us. I'm gonna go eat some dinner, and I'll leave it to you guys.
All right, good job, man.
Thanks.
Congrats, double.
Let's see. Celis is looking to have like a pretty normal fight here. Nothing too spectacular. Though he's not going to finish under 140 now. Maybe one under 142? We'll see. There we go.
Still a sub 141.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, so thanks everybody for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this race. This is just a taste of what's to come with the F1 tourney that Fiesel just linked. So if you're interested in learning the run, we have some guides on speedrun.com. We also have a Discord. And we have the tourney coming up soon. And it's open to anyone and everyone. This run is not at all hard to learn. So if you're new to speedrunning or RPG speedrunning, I'd recommend giving it a shot and maybe signing up.
Yeah, and this is honestly the kind of run that you can learn in less than a day, so if you're interested in trying a speedrun and, you want to try something that's not that difficult to start with, this is definitely a good game.